Oh, let me count the ways we're already losing so many of our individual liberties as the government grows bigger and regulations grow more every day. Now, freedom of speech is in jeopardy. The House has already passed its own bill. Now the Senate is considering broadening the government's powers to prosecute those who commit hate crimes. And just who is a hate criminal under this bill is up for serious interpretation. David Ritkers is the legal policy analyst at the Cato Institute, and he joins me now. David, welcome to the program. Tell us about the portions of this legislation which might make it a crime for someone like me or you to use aggressive speech as we're communicating over the airwaves like we're doing now.
Well, there's a bill in the House right now that would criminalize what they call cyberbullying, and this would be using any electronic means of communication that offends someone. So the bill actually spells out if you use email or a text message or you log into a blog and you use language that is perceived as harmful and someone takes offense, now you're suddenly a federal criminal. And this is all based on...
How would the government know if we used language in email or in Twitter or in blogging or in any of the electronic means that are so popular today? Wouldn't it have to violate our privacy by some means in order to even find out what we're saying?
Well, sure they would, and there would be an inquisition to determine, how hateful a person are you, and suddenly your thoughts become criminal. This is thought crime legislation.
All right, here's the portion of the legislation that is so offensive and which I would argue, David, directly violates freedom of speech. Whoever transmits in interstate or foreign commerce, so that basically means radio, television, internet, any communication with the intent to coerce, intimidate, harass, or cause substantial emotional distress to a person using electronic means to support severe, repeated hostile behavior shall be fined under this title or imprisoned. So in other words, if this becomes the law, notwithstanding the First Amendment, which says Congress shall make no law abridging the freedom of speech, Congress in fact will be abridging speech that it hates or it fears by allowing prosecutors to decide whose speech is hostile and whose speech is hateful.
That's absolutely true, and this speech could be political. It could be just a bad disagreement, a bad breakup with your boyfriend or girlfriend. And in fact, this is named after Megan Meyer, the girl who killed herself after a mother of another girl in her school created a fake MySpace profile. Well, the Missouri authorities found that none of their laws have been violated, so the U.S. Attorney in Los Angeles hailed her into court in California because that's where MySpace is based. So they can drag you across the country because you hurt someone else's feelings using the Internet.
All right, and the reason it was in California is because that's where the server was that this woman used in St. Louis. Switching gears a little bit. As I understand it, David, there's also a portion of this bill which violates the provision against double jeopardy. Double jeopardy is a constitutionally guaranteed clause which says the government can't try you twice for the same crime. It's in the Constitution because the British king used to try colonists over and over again until he got a conviction. But as I understand it, this law, if passed, this bill, if passed, would let the federal government try someone who's already been tried in state court, been found guilty, because the federal prosecutors don't think the state courts punished him enough. Now, how the heck does that square with our constitutional rights?
Well, it doesn't, but that's not a concern to the people who are supporting this particular legislation. So if you commit a crime and a jury finds you guilty and you're sentenced to 10 years, but the federal government thinks that you need more punishment, then they can go ahead and prosecute you.
Wow. We have to watch this one, and we have to make sure people understand the slow, inexorable creep against our liberties that are being waged by this government. David Ricker, thanks very much. An update.